Good morning, welcome back to the channel. Right, today I'm going to be doing part 2 of the sink install. So on the last video you saw me, I was installing the actual sink in the worktop. Today I am going to be installing the tap, the submersible pump, and the 19 litre tank. So I've got a waste and I've got a clear water one as well. So I'm going to run a 12 volt from the back of the van to power the tap and the submersible. So let's get on with it. Right, so let's go through the parts for, it's a cold water feed, so let's go through the parts what I've got. Right, got a cup of tea, it's the main thing. It's cold out in the van today. Was £192, so that was for the sink, all the kit with it. So what you got? Right, you got two 19 litre tanks. So this one there, that's for the cold water to come out into the tap, and you've got a hole there for the submersible pump to go through. And the other one is for the waste. So what I'm guessing at the moment is I haven't looked at the other parts, so you have to drill a hole there for the waste pipe to go through. So it's what comes with it. So you've got a massive grate. There's probably about 2 meters of black waste, and you've got about 2 meters of cold pipe, and you've got again about 2 meters of cable, and that's so they supply with the cable. It's got live and neutral, or live and ground. So you can tap this from your fuse box at the back of the van and join it to the tap and the submersible pump, and I'll show you how to do that later on. Right, so the rest of the kit comes with submersible pump. So that just drops into your tank, and this connects up to the 12 volt feed as well as your tap. Here is your tap inside, so it's got your cable in there to connect to your live and your negative or ground. It's got all the other bits there. I'll get it all out and I'll show you stage by stage anyway. So that's that bit. Then it comes with a bag of fixings, etc, etc. That's your tap. All right, just got it out of the bag for you to show you. Right, it's not. It's okay. It's all right. It's not brilliant. It's quite plastic, sort of like. It doesn't feel like it's it's going to do a grand job. But this is only a temporary measure for us anyway. So later on, I probably will be changing this anyway. But you never know. I might like it. But again, obviously it's like cuts through it, it reduces the weight in the van anyway. All right, so let's get on and fit this. All right, okay, right. So you've got your tap, you've got your washer, which will feed. Yeah, this is your rubber washer. So this one will sit on the outside of the tap, outside of the sink. Sorry, so that'll slip in like that. So then you've got other bits of rubber seal as well, which goes on to that underneath. I believe. Right, sorted out where all these bits go on the tap. The letdown of the kit is it doesn't really come with any instructions apart from that. So it doesn't tell you anything about where the tap goes, the bits go on the tap. So right, okay, well I've got the tap, comes with a rubber seal like that, so that goes on first. So that sits on down the thread like that. Then you've got the bit there that actually sits between the sink and the tap, and that goes over like that. So then that sits on there like so. So it's a flush fitting, so it gives it a good seal as well. When it's tightened up, it'll seal it from this side. So then underneath you've got the black rubber, so that goes underneath with the locking nut. So what I'll do, I'll stick that in there now. What I might actually do, might be easier, is actually getting the blue hose and fixing it on first and feeding it down, and it saves you from doing and filling that behind the sink. So I'll do that now. Okay, I'll just open up the bag with all the fixings. There they are. So you come with these P clips as well. So you get the two different sizes. So you got one for, or many for the waste pipe, which is the thick. I think it's about an inch in diameter waste pipe. So to make the job neat and tidy inside your cabinet, that's good, and it gives it support as well. It comes with two Jubilee clips, and this is for your cold water feed to go from the tap, then to connect to the water, and you got all your crimps for your electrical, which is supplied as well, and some of these screws. You've got the P clips for the waste, not the waste, sorry, the cold water feed too. Right, so when you come to put in the pipe on to the actual tap, because it's all plastic, just be careful, because you don't want to go pushing too hard and breaking anything. So what I'm doing is just gradually pushing on and twisting. So that's all you need to do. You don't need to be too hard with it. So it just goes on. So you want it to go on as far as you can. And you can tighten up with the Jubilee. So once you've pushed that on to a fair amount of the plastic part there, you just put the Jubilee clamp on and just screw it in. Again, yeah, do it so it clamps on. Don't over tighten it. Over tighten it, then you could crack the plastic. So let me just do that up there a bit more. So that's Jubileed on. It's nice and tight on there. So what you can do now is just feed the hose down through the hole with the back of the sink. So obviously you can cut the hose to the size that you want. So now I've got that in there. I've got the rubber gasket, and I've got the locking nut as well. So what you need to get as well is get some large adjustable spanners to do the job. That's what I'm going to be using on here. Should have enough room for that. So I'm just feeding them up the pipe. Brought you at a different angle. So make sure you get the electrical wire through it as well. Actually, right, okay, right, I've done a right, okay. So what I've just explained to you, ignore that, and I'll go back over it again with you. So what I was saying beforehand is putting the pipe on before, just to make it easier doing the Jubilee clip up. You can't actually do that because when you put the locking nut and the rubber washer on, it doesn't go over the Jubilee clip. So unfortunately you'll have to do all that underneath, which can be tricky. But if you're used to tight spaces like I am, then it shouldn't be a problem. So let's just fit the tap now. So again, like I said earlier on when I was describing putting these bits on the tap, that's the way it is. So you got the tap, you got the white rubber gasket that goes on first, the tap, then you've got the outer ring, and you've got the little rubber ring seal that goes on the inside of that as well. So then stick that down through the back of the sink. Just make sure it sits on there properly. So it's probably worth putting that on, making sure, because what you got there, you got this rubber ring, and actually sits in. There's a groove around there, so it's a little bit smaller than that, but it gives it a tighter seal as well. So probably best to put that on like that first, so then it doesn't move. Okay, so it doesn't stick or anything. So stick that down. So you got the rubber seal on there. Okay. So now you got your rubber ring, your gasket, and you got the locking nut as well. So that goes over the electrical cable. Excuse me while I come in here with it. That's what I mean, you can't really see what you're doing because the sink's in the way. Okay, let me show you what I'm doing so then I can see if I've done it. If it's not, so there you go. If you can see that, I don't know if I got that on the right angle or if I got it crossed, but let me have a look. That's one tap fitted, so it's quite a nice little neat design. So you can lift it up. You'll be able to hear a little click there. So that's the micro switch kicking in. So that down and that closes up, so it's all neat and tidy. So managed to get behind and got the adjustable spanners up there to tighten that on there. So this black, this blue, hold on a minute, where are you? Trying to feed you. So that does turn around, so you can then put your cold water feed on, which I'm going to do now. Put all the pipes on, attach it. Then P-clip it to the sidewalls. Right, so it's handy having the U down there, then I can look at the screen while I'm doing it. So this can be very awkward. So I haven't put the Jubilee on there yet, but I can feed it on the other end. Right. So where you are at the moment, I need to be. So, see, it makes it easier with a bit of light in the subject as well. Excuse me for that. Wait. Right, so now you can see that's on there. I'm just going to run the Jubilee clip. Wherever I put it. Put it somewhere. There it is. Right, so just feeding it on this end, and I can hand it out there and tighten her up. So what I'm doing now, I want to put a P-clip up here somewhere, just to take the strain off the fixing at the top. So around about there somewhere, then I can have it dropping down into the tank. I'll just put one P-clip up there, so it just gives it a nice sort of like support fixing, so it doesn't put too much strain on the plastic tap. So that's where the 19 litre tank's going to go. So because I've got a long pipe, it's about two meters, so I am going to cut it down. So it's going to be at the bottom, but I want to leave a bit extra for me to pull this out so I can pour water in it, or just so I've got enough to pull this right out, so I can pull the hose out, so I can take this outside and fill it up, if you see what I mean. But when you do cut this, just make sure you've got enough so it sits right down at the bottom of the tank. And you just cut down this pipe with just a normal Stanley knife. So when it comes to fitting your cold water feed into your drum, it comes with a lid like that with 2 holes, so the cold pipe will go through there, which I did cut a little bit off. You don't need to cut too much off it, because it still needs to be a snug fit for that to fit in there. But if you don't cut that or drill a bigger hole in it, then that won't pass through it. But as you can see, let me feed that bit up there. It needs to be a nice tight fit, so it just slips in like that. Just make sure you put that bit on first, because that then goes over and seals around the top. So once you've fed the blue pipe through the plastic top bit, make sure it's a snug fit, like I said earlier on, so no water escapes out of it when you're driving around. So you put that through there, then you get, sorry, bear with me guys. So you get your other Jubilee clip, because what you have to do with this submersible pump, this goes inside the tank at the bottom. But before you put that in there, you want to put your Jubilee clip just over the hose, and you want to insert the hose onto the submersible pump. It's a bit of a tight fit, but it needs to be, and you just ease it on like so. Just being extra careful when you push it on. You know what? This is why I reckon, so I got this something offline about putting this on and fitting it on to the pump. I'm not going to bother with that, because I'm not happy with that being sat in the water that we're going to be drinking or doing whatever. Because I've just found out it's tight enough on there, so it's not going to go anywhere. And even if it does, just reattach it. It's going to be inside the tank anyway, and it's not going to do any damage to it. But as you can see, I'm pushing this on with a bit of force. So that's all you need. Right, so now that's done, I can place that in there. But so with the cable that you got from the submersible pump, you want to put that through the hole which is in the lid. So again, that's sort of like a snuggish fit. So yeah. So that sits in there just like that. Let's bring you back inside the cupboard. So it sits down. So you want to make sure the pump sits right down the bottom. That's lifted the pump up too high. There we go, that's better. And make sure that this bit sits around the inside. That screws up. And you can feed that on like that, but I'm not going to tighten that up yet because I want to test it and put some water in there. But what I'm going to do now is sort out the wiring side of things, and I'll be back with you. But let's go through the electrical side of things of the pump and the tap. I've already done it because it was just easier for me to do it, then I can explain what I did afterwards. So you've got your tap, you've got your pump, and you've got your live feed. So if we start from the live feed, so live positive coming up to your positive of the tap, which is the plain white on the tap. And then coming from the tap down on the negative, going to the positive of the pump. Then coming up from the pump, the negative to the negative, back to the feed. So I might go through that. Just take a snapshot if you need to do that, or just go back over what I've said. Right, so moment of truth is, so there we go, it works. I won't do it for too long because I've got no water in there at the moment. So what I'm going to do now, so I've got the electrical feed sorted out, that's all done. I know it's working, that's perfect. So now what I've got to do is just tidy up the wiring, just clip it to the side. Then I need to do the waste from underneath the sink to the waste tank. Then I've got to figure out what I'm going to do with strapping it in, because I've got nothing to strap it in the moment. I was thinking about getting some ratchet straps or something and a couple of clips and do it that way, so then easy enough then for me to take the tanks in and out of the van. Right, I'll crack on and do that. Right, typically the phone died, so I've taken the phone in to charge up, so I've gone a little bit ahead. So I'll show you what I've done. The last video I said that I was just tidying up the wiring, so I've done that and just P-clipped it there. Put the tanks in there, so you see me did the coal feed. I've just put in the waste into the waste tank. What I've done in that, I've drilled through with a 32mm hole saw to go through that, and what I've done the other side, I've put a Jubilee clip just so it clamps, so this, when the van's in motion, that won't work its way out, but it's in there, and it's pretty tight in there anyway. I said I was going to get some ratchet straps, but I didn't in the end. I got some eye plates. I got two of those, one on the other side and one here, and I got some bungee cords, so that's strapped in there. But what I am going to do is do a wooden frame, just a little bit of wood battening around there so it won't slide either way. So it's got support at the bottom and it'll have support around there. So I'm going to go and do that now. Just measure up some wood, then I can screw that down. Then I will fill up the tank water. Then we'll get the tap working and get the sink filled, and just see if there's any leaks anywhere. Okay, I've just cut some battening, so I'm going to line it up somewhere around, yeah, so it's tight around the bottom of the bases of the tanks. Screw them down. I'm going to be using 4x50 screws. So once I've got that done, I'll come back to you. Okay, so I've put the battening around the bottom there, so it's not going to move. Got the bungee cord around there. I've filled the cold, well, the drinking water canister up just a little bit. So now, I did try it just now, mistakenly forgot to film it, but, so it works. It's got quite a decent amount of power there as well. So I'll switch it off, put the plug in, fill it up. Now I can make sure that there's no drips. It's all right. No drips up underneath the sink. It's all good. dust that off. Right, so that's still dry. Pull it. So use the dry hand, and that's all good. No leaks. Excellent. Right, well, I think that concludes today's video, and on the sink. So you saw me cut the hole out for the sink, and today putting the water in and the waste in and wiring it up. So yeah, all good, all working, well happy. So that's good, it's one thing ticked off the list. So guys, right, the next project I will be doing will be the toilet. Now, sort of like finishing off boarding the outside of the toilet. I've got a sliding door, so I want to get that done in the next video. See you then. All right, please like and subscribe. Take care now. Bye bye.